the third grade. They can determine whether a child is going to go and graduate successfully or go and drop out of school and go into the prison industrial complex.
A quality teacher who is certified, which we don't have sometimes in many inner city schools where we'll have them in other schools. And I think as a result, we end up getting the results that we expect.
We know that there are funding inequities that have been historic and have in fact contributed towards the achievement gap in terms of how many dollars follow each student. Much of that goes back into the 70s when we were much more dependent and reliant upon the property tax for the state of California. And then when the property tax initiative passed in 1978, it really locked in how many dollars per student, with the state of California making up the difference. And so our public school system has become incredibly more dependent. Probably close to 70% of the funding comes from the state. So when the state is in an economic downturn or recession, as we're experiencing today, the state's not able to ostensibly make its commitment to the school system, to the students. Looking at a program like the weighted student average so that it's more money to those students that have more challenges is a design that we need to look at and a funding model that we need to change.
I'm Larry Pikus. I'm a professor of education at the USC Rossier School of Education. My expertise is in school finance. School finance has been focused on issues of inequities for over a century. And it started as simply as concerns over different abilities to raise money through property taxes. Some districts had more property wealth than others. We've moved on to trying to understand how you can make money make a difference through sort of economic productivity concepts. Haven't found a whole lot that's really useful. And recently moved to a field of adequacy. How much money do we need to ensure that every child receives a world-class education and can meet our state standards? If we have enough money so that whatever John or Jane needs, we have the resources for them to get the education they need and meet the standards themselves, then we've really solved virtually all the equity problems. That's easier said than done because it's not always clear how much that should be. And if we even knew that, it's not always clear whether we have the will to raise that or to distribute it in ways that would go to those places. Because typically, children from poor homes, children who've moved a lot, children who have other disadvantages tend to require more resources than children whose parents are better off. And often it's the children who are better off whose parents have the most political capital to generate funding and move it towards their schools.
In 2005, my colleagues and I at the Education Trust West released the first of its kind analysis that looked at the spending gaps that exist within districts across the state of California. A full 80 to 85% of a school's budget is spent on teachers. The most expensive teachers, those teachers that are highest on the salary schedule, they are usually the teachers with the most experience, the most credentials, the greater higher education degrees. They tend to be clustered in schools serving mostly advantaged kids. Locke High School serves mostly African American and Latino young people. It is mostly poor. It spends a full $956,000 less every year than a high school, also in the Los Angeles Unified School District that's in the Valley, that serves a very different population of young people, Granada Hills High School. These are what we call the intra-district funding gaps, and they persist everywhere.
A question that needs to be asked is, why is there such a disparity?